Introductions. Benjamin Harrison Freedman was born in 1890, and became a successful Jewish businessman of New York City who was at one time the principal owner of the Woodbury Soap Company. He broke with organized Jewry at the end of the Second World War, 1945. At least $2.5 million was spent by Mr. Freedman to educate people about what he himself called the Talmudic tyranny. Its stronghold was, and is, the United States of America. Mr. Freedman was an insider at the highest levels of Jewish machinations. Freedman became active in politics at an early age and became acquainted with many important people, as Bernard Baruch, Samuel Untermeyer, Woodrow Wilson, Franklin Roosevelt, Joseph and his son John F. Kennedy. He personally interviewed at length 7 presidents of the United States. Although raised as a Jew, the author became disgusted with the chicanery of the Jews, and Judaism, and became an ardent Christian. Arnold Forster, a high official of the Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith or ADL, in his 1988 autobiography, Square One, called Benjamin Freedman an affluent, apostate, self-hating Jew. The magazine Commentary, published by the American Jewish Committee, for February, 1955, referred to him as Jewish anti-Semite Benjamin Freedman. This of course was only a way to neutralize him in the eyes of other Jews who were blindly following their leaders. This author has been in a position since 1912 to witness what was going on behind the scenes. This author served on the National Democratic Committee in the 1912 campaign that elected President Wilson to his first term. No doors have been closed to this author since then. This author was ushered into this world in 1890 by Dr. Simon Baruch, the father of Mr. Bernard M. Baruch. Mr. Bernard Baruch was a good friend of this author's family and would very often consult this author on this situation. Benjamin Freedman, from an extracted paragraph of this pamphlet. Benjamin H. Freedman committed himself to finding and telling the facts about Zionism and communism, and encouraged others to do the same. The son of one of the founders of the American Jewish Committee, which for many years was anti-Zionist, Ben Freedman founded the League for Peace with Justice in Palestine in 1946. He gave me copies of materials on the Balfour Declaration which I might never have found on my own and encouraged my own research. He died in April 1984. Robert John. Benjamin Freedman and the Dynamic Silence. I've read some of the interesting material published by anti-Zionist Jew, Benjamin Freedman. I only see it online, here. Checked several university libraries, Lexis, Nexus, and Dialogue, and still find nothing else on Freedman. Even checked 50 to 75 years old who's who, in business, etc. It's like the man never lived. His anti-Zionist, yet Jewish manuscripts remind me very much of present-day Israel Shahak. Both understand that the most repressive force to ever bear down on Jews has always been rabbinical totalitarianism. Their, now heavily censored and difficult to find, writings of Hannah Arendt demonstrate that the Zionists were more than willing to collaborate with the Nazis, in essence because they both are kindred spirits, which is totalitarian. Female writer on ultravisionism, the 20th of June 1997. Most persons reading this internet posting should be familiar with who Benjamin Harrison Freedman, the 23rd of August 1890 to February 1973, 1984 according to Robert John or IHR editor, was. He was a very prominent Boston and New York businessman. Born an Eastern European Jew and very much involved in viewing and participating in the Jewish machinations against freedom and traditional American values, Freedman was appalled to see all that his fellow Jews perpetrated against this country. As a consequence, Benjamin Freedman utterly separated himself from his former Jewish associates. When world Jewry agitated to seize Palestine and to form a Jewish state in the Middle East, there was no one more opposed to this than Freedman. He was, then, one of the most prominent anti-Zionists, which is all the more astounding because Ben had emerged from that identical murky Talmudic network. It is clear to this observer that the Ashkenazi Eastern Europeans who call themselves Jews very much regarded Freedman as a traitor and a great danger to their cabal. The very familiar Marxist tool of dynamic silence was effectively put to use on Benjamin Freedman. Try as hard as you might, you will find virtually nothing on the man in printed volumes. He should be found in Who's Who in Business, in various biographies, in numerous printed references. But, no. It's as if Benjamin Freedman never even existed. As an antidote to this post-mortem attempt by the same Khazaric Jews to destroy the memory of this great anti-Zionist leader, I post this listing of several newspaper items regarding Benjamin Freedman. The articles show that Ben did everything humanly possible to derail the UN American and anti-white but essentially Talmudic forces which have shaped the America we now live in. Here then are a few listings which show that Freedman was very influential, extremely well versed in the schemes and machinations of un-American Jewry, and that he took no crap off anybody who might impugn his good name and best intentions for the free society we all should cherish. Mail writer on Ultravisionism, the 4th of October 1997. Traces of Freedman, New York Times articles 1946 to 1965, New York Times, July 8, 1946, page 3 column 1. Officers and members of the Executive Committee of the American Jewish Committee said that they are ready to answer a $5 million suit filed against them by Benjamin H. Freedman of the League for Peace with Justice in Palestine. The suit stemming from a circular memo by the AJC which said that newspapers' ads in behalf of the Justice League were really representative of Freedman, only. New York Times, May 3, 1948, page 20 column 2. Evidence introduced Mid-Manhattan Magistrates Court sought to link Benjamin H. Freedman with the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem and with the establishment of a submachine gun factory in Pakistan. New York Times, May 5, 1948, page 35 column 7. Benjamin H. Freedman, who says he has spent more than $100,000 of his own money fighting Zionism, charged that leading U.S. Jews were the dictators of policy on Palestine, naming among others, Governor Herbert H. Lehman, Bernard M. Baruch, Samuel I. Rosenman, David K. Niles, Thomas J. Watson of IBM, and Edward M. Warburg. Magistrate, Hyman Bushell, adjourned till tomorrow. New York Times, May 7, 1948, page 7 column 1. Under cross-examination from the magistrate, Freedman stated that he was born in the Jewish faith but studied to be a Catholic. Magistrate Bushell countered, "The Jews put you out and the Catholics won't have you." New York Times, May 8, 1948, page 4 column 8. Benjamin H. Freedman testified that last winter he discussed partition of Palestine at a dinner of 52 members of Congress and for which he paid the bill. New York Times, December 9, 1950, page 18 column 6. Anna M. Rosenberg confronted the man who accused her of Communist Front affiliations, Robert De Sola, himself an admitted former communist. She has said the case was one of mistaken identity. She had been nominated as Assistant Secretary of Defense by President Truman at the suggestion of Defense Secretary George C. Marshall. New York Times, December 12, 1950, page 41 column 2. Benjamin Freedman, New York businessman, testified in hearings against Anna M. Rosenberg before the Senate Armed Services Committee. The session was highlighted by the appearance of Senior Richard Nixon, former member of the House Un-American Activities Committee. New York Times, December 15, 1950, page 41 column 1. Benjamin Freedman first brought the red charges against Anna M. Rosenberg to the attention of the committee. Senators heard testimony today that Gerald L. K. Smith was also consulted by Freedman, that Rosenberg was once affiliated with communists. She has vigorously denied the charge. New York Times, December 17, 1950, page 24 column 3. Senate Armed Services Committee clears Rosenberg for Assistant Secretary of Defense position. New York Times, March 22, 1952, page 30 column 1. Benjamin H. Freedman of 300 Central Park, New York, described by counsel as the former owner of a cosmetic company, Woodbury's filed suit seeking $12 million in 7 suits against 15 broadcasting companies and news commentators with the New York State Supreme Court. William S. Paley and Charles Collingwood had agreed to a settlement and opposed a merger of the suits. The suits were based on news reports of Freedman's testimony in December 1950 of his testimony before the Senate Armed Services Committee. New York Times, August 20, 1965, page 8 column 3. Benjamin Harrison Freedman, retired businessman, urged Arthur J. Goldberg, U.S. Ambassador to UN, to prove his devotion to the rule of law by seeking a reversal of American policies on Israel. Freedman declared that the presence of Israel was due to a world Zionist plot involving the British. He went on to say that the existence of a Jewish state in the Middle East could provoke a world nuclear war. Male writer on Ultravisionism, 4 October 1997.